The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this or any broadcast belong solely to our guests or our hosts. These broadcasts do not represent or reflect the views of their employers, sponsors, or affiliated organizations.
Welcome to the Flipboard EDU podcast with your host, William Jeffrey, where we collaborate, communicate, and educate with the greatest educators in the world on Flipboard. Let's start the show.
Welcome back, Flipboard fam. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey. And today we have another amazing guest, Sukhmani Mohta from Samsung Electronic Display Division, who talks about the new display technology that she thinks will help students learn to be more safe and engaged in school. She talks about how some of their innovative products and their mission to elevate students' learning experiences, engagement, and safety at school. Through customer feedback and research and development, Samsung is committed to bringing new technology to the education sector for classrooms of the future. In this episode, you'll learn how Samsung's Electronic Display Division is revolutionizing the classroom with interactive displays, describe how Samsung's technology is helping to re-engage students in the classroom, and how Samsung is providing solutions to keep students safe and secure in the classroom. So like we always do about this time, let's collaborate, communicate, and educate with the best educators in the world right here on Flipboard EDU Podcast. Welcome back, Flipboard fam. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey, and I have another amazing guest here today. I have Sukhmani Mohta here from Samsung. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great. I'm finally glad that we were able to come on.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes. Okay, so before we get started, tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I had marketing for Samsung Electronics Display Division here in the US. And just to kind of give you a little bit more about what the display division is, we have two sides of our business. One is the B2C side, where we own our displays, which are really the monitors, which we have the gaming lineup, which is under the Samsung Odyssey brand name. We have our high resolution, and then new category defining products like the smart monitor, which is both a monitor, but also has capabilities of a smart TV along with the remote. You also may have heard about our Samsung Odyssey Arc product that we announced at CES, which won multiple awards, so which is like the ultimate gaming screen. So that's more on the consumer side, but on the business side, we have all kinds of displays. So think about maybe the smallest screen, which is maybe your monitor, or the small screens that you see outside conference rooms, all the way up to the biggest screens that you can think of in sports stadiums, like the SoFi Stadium or Citi Field, the home of the Mets. So we do everything in between from a signage perspective. And my role specifically encompasses marketing to both these businesses, whether we talk about education or food and beverage, retail, government, enterprises. So my role is to market to businesses as well as consumers. Also look at our channel ecosystem, so whether it's the distributors, resellers, as well as e-commerce. So really looking at marketing across those different spaces. That's what I do.
Excellent. So my concern is education, and I want to just dive a little bit deep into education. Why is Samsung an important component of education?
Yeah, absolutely. So Samsung overall, just from a display tech to give you a background, has been the number one signage player over the last 13 years. And from an education perspective, display technology has really become an integral part of classroom tech really in the last few years, whether it's about what we went through in the last 2 years and being able to bring in students and be more inclusive, and or really now just having to re-engage students almost after 2+ years of remote or interrupted education. So re-engagement is a really big priority and play a big role there. You're working with digital natives, right? They have things like TikTok and YouTube, just such unprecedented amount of information at their fingertips. So how do you keep them engaged and involved in your classrooms? I think that from that perspective, display really plays a key role, but also just beyond the classroom. When we think about school-wide communication, bringing added dimensions to, what we're talking about, a connected campus, safety, security has become such a topic as well today. So being able to offer a communication network to be able to handle emergencies. So displays for an endpoint, if you will, in all of those environments from an education perspective.
Yes. So I have a question, and this is a question about Samsung's role in the pandemic. It went through a transformation. Can you tell me, what did Samsung learn from watching the transformation of educators?
So at a point where almost literally overnight our schools, and you experienced it, right, had to go from in-person, and with a switch, it was how do you bring in all your students into a learning environment where they have access to education. And for us, it was really about how do you quickly get up to speed. And it was, of course, about being able to supply the products that were needed to build in classroom technology. It was about how do you create this setup, which included not just about the displays, but also video conferencing technology and how that integrates with the displays. It was how do you include every student? How do you be able to involve people which don't have access now all of a sudden to be in classrooms? So I think for us, it was how do you provide such turnkey solutions and how do you do it in a really quick turnaround time? And I think that was what was critical in the time of the pandemic. You went through that and you probably saw it firsthand of how you had to switch almost overnight.
Yeah, everybody should be coming back to school this next year coming up. I think everybody's returning back to school. And unsung heroes of schools are displays. And a traditional back in the 30 years ago was a chalkboard. What is the role of Samsung in that aspect of education?
Yeah, absolutely. So over the last few years, like we've been talking about, the role of video conferencing has been tremendous, and the displays that enable that has been really key. But as people are coming back into the classroom, it's all about the need to re-engage really your students. There was a research that was done from Carnegie Mellon that shows that when students proactively interact with the course information, they actually retain information better and learning outcomes improve. So it's about and learning platforms today really can integrate with the latest interactive display technology that we have. And these are large device-connected touch screens, which have become a really powerful asset, especially for in-class, to provide immersive, collaborative, and simple tools for teachers to deliver dynamically, able to highlight what's important on a screen, to potentially have a few students that come together on a board and be able to simultaneously work on something, for students to be able to cast, because a lot of them have this technology also on their hands today. So for them to be able to cast to the device to show what they have done. So I think that interactive experiences and digital devices have become really important, especially as they bring the curriculum to life in ways that inspire and create excitement and engagement within the classroom. Also, I think through the pandemic, you realized how different students did with the school information differently. So when more students back, teachers have to keep finding ways to accommodate different learning styles, right? There are visual learners who gravitate towards these vivid displays. There are auditory learners who benefit from listening to multimedia. So even having speakers as part of the digital display experience is important. And then there are those hands-on kinesthetic learners that benefit from really coming up to the board and engaging, whether it's drawing or writing or engaging with what's already on the board. So I think all of those are really important, and display, and especially interactive displays, play a really important role there.
Yeah. I know you guys do a lot of research on making sure that things work well for students and teachers. Is there a school that's actually getting it right? Is there a place where you have seen where people are using your products in a way that is probably surprising to you all?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a few examples, and maybe I'll just take a moment here to walk you through maybe 2 or 3 examples. So there is Christopher Columbus High School in Miami that's using the power of our interactive displays in every classroom. They installed these in about 2021. And then teachers are using this to present lesson plans, to share content, work on assignments, also being able to interact with students one-on-one who are working with their own devices. And the result that we've seen there is just such a more collaborative experience where dynamic media is being delivered in a really quick and meaningful way. And we were just talking a moment ago about keeping the engagement of these students. And so we've seen that it's being able to hold the students' interest. And then beyond the classroom, apart from interactive displays, they have our LEDs also installed in the campus, from their STEM labs to the basketball courts, because like I was mentioning from our display portfolio, we have indoor, but also outdoor specific displays. So they're kind of also been using that to really talking about the full connected campus. Another example that I can also talk about is the school district of Manatee County in Florida. Their middle and high school teachers are leveraging handheld tablets that the teachers are using, and then they're able to push learning materials onto a professional display. So that gives them the ability to move around freely in the classroom as they interact and engage with the students. So maybe a little bit of a different use case than the one that I just spoke about. And then potentially another one that we have in Oak Meadows, which is actually a Montessori school in Massachusetts. And they welcome students back, but they still have a mix, right? We were talking about virtual and being able to move during the pandemic. They had 70% of their student body come in, with about 30% choosing to stay at home. So then to be able to use display technology to teach in this blended environment more effectively, which is both for the people who are in person, so they're present there, but also for the remote learners, trying to mitigate learning loss was a big priority for them. So what they did there is they had dual displays, right? So there are different configurations that schools are using our technology, and they used it in a dual mode, where on one they were bringing students that were remote, and on the other one they had the lessons. So that way they were able to interact with all students just how they would have when they were physically together. So they didn't have to continue to look down on a laptop or anything. It was just more engaging. So those are some of the examples how schools are using our technology.
I dropped by the ISTE booth and I saw like the amazing displays, and I saw just some amazing things that you guys were doing. And you also talked earlier, but off camera, we talked about you guys made some announcements. So what are some of those announcements that you guys made at ISTE?
Yeah, so we actually announced our Flip Pro product, which is the new iteration of our interactive displays. And what we announced really is 2 sizes of this product, both 75 and 85 inch. And what this really brings to the market are 3 big things that touch on it high level, but of course, happy to give more details, whoever needs it, including, if you want more, which is really, I think the 3 key areas are, one is around collaboration capability. So it drives more productivity and efficient collaboration. I won't go more into it because we spoke about it. But this one, from a product perspective, the touch latency. So if you really come in and collaborate with different sets of students or the teacher in the front of the classroom, the touch latency to use is really one of the fastest in the industry. And also the multi-touch feature. So many people can together be on it, together simultaneously collaborating on this clear. It's a UHD display. It has intuitive control. So we have a control panel there, and it has sound speakers. So really one in all, it's a pulled together solution. The second thing is connectivity options, which is what we've announced as part of this. It features a versatile selection of connectivity options. There is USB, HDMI, DisplayPort, screen sharing. Teachers can integrate the display with their learning education platforms and apps like Google Duo or Minio Connect for video conferencing to share interactive lessons plan. They could create a classroom where everyone can participate, whether at the board or sitting really from where they are. And kind of the third thing that's part of this product also is just the user experience itself. It has 7 buttons right up front. So it's just easy to click on them and be able to get to some quick menu options, which are really the most used features, whether it's the home screen, it's the freezing of frame, it's a black screen volume, making it easy, that simplicity and ease of usability being the key aspects there. And then really smart view functionality. So the screen itself can have multi-view up to about 6 screens, but you can have 50 devices simultaneously connect. So what that means is that your students, you give them a task and you have students who work on it, and then you're asking them to present back or show their work, and they could do it from wherever they are. So we have the capability of connecting up to 50, and then you can show 6 at a time, be able to talk through it, and then be able to bring up another 6. So I think those are some of the key aspects of this new product that we announced at ISTE. But I'm so glad you were able to make it to the booth, and I hope you had a good time there. We had a number of engagements and activations. I hope you made use of all of that.
Oh, not only did I make use, so my son was excited about the display with the race car set thing that you guys had up. Yeah. And then also too, my wife and I dropped by because you guys had an interactive scoreboard that was ran by an app. And so a school district or a school like mine, I'm a high school principal, And so one of the things that we try to do is we try to involve all our community in the best way that we possibly can. And so we want to be able to broadcast basketball games, our indoor games, our tennis matches, the TVs. And so you guys had a component that was able to do that. So we were very excited.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad you got a chance to visit and you enjoyed that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing. One of the things that I can say as a high school principal that kind of is frustrating about the technology space is that we'll see something great in 1 year and then we'll buy it and then next year is gone or they're not making it anymore. Is Samsung committed to these products that they're bringing? Because it sounds great, 50 devices at one time. Can any device connect to it?
Yes, any device can connect to it.
Yeah. In the future, as this moves forward, is this the route that Samsung is going to take?
So for us, it's all about learning from our customers and understanding what they need, listening to their needs and requirements. And so even before we brought this product out to market, we had done multiple sessions, whether it's focus groups, be part of ERDI or any other institute, to actually hear the feedback that we're getting from our customers. So I can tell you that whatever we bring out, we'll be keeping in mind the feedback that we get from our customers. Samsung as a company is committed to innovation and technology. Our R&D spend is one of the top that we've seen, that you see in the industry. So we're committed to bringing new technology and education as a sector that we're absolutely committed to.
Yeah. Now, a slight brag, I only purchase Samsung TVs.
That's good. Me too.
I don't mess with anything else. That's just my personal thing. I really don't like to endorse products when we're talking about it, but I got to admit, I've had my curved displays for my kids. They're working for years now, so I'm happy about that. Is there anything about Samsung that I did not approach as I asked you questions?
No, I think you did. You asked me everything. I think I just wanted to reiterate, for us, our mission really for education is to elevate every student's learning experience, engagement, and safety at school using our display technology. So that's something that we're going to continue to invest in and work at the community and this sector and vertical to bring out whatever technology that we can to help with the mission of ours. So from our perspective, the innovative EdTech tools have proven, and we've seen that I spoke about some of our customers, they've really proven instrumental in not just welcoming students back to the classroom, but really offering a reimagined learning experience better than really, I would say, what was even previously possible. So for us, the emerging classroom of the future is where students can enjoy greater collaboration, engagement, and learn really in the most optimal way that will help them grow and thrive. So I think that's really super important from us, from Samsung's perspective and commitment to education.
So Sukhmani, I want to go back to the security aspect because that's huge. Now in education, a lot of school districts are being caught with ransomware. And so that's a huge thing. And they get on smart devices. Those viruses get in smart devices and then they end up attacking your network. What is Samsung's plan to make sure schools are safe in that aspect?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question again. For us, we help protect the physical and digital campus by supporting whether it's user well-being, and there are a few elements of it. You spoke about one of the ransomware, but for us, from our perspective, there are a few, right? One is user well-being. So whether we are using safer, shatterproof technology in our displays. On the digital side, we protect school data and user privacy with our secure display software. And that's a differentiator for us where we've invested in protecting the display technology. It's secure display software. We have Knox, and Knox is something which is really, it's a hardware protection that we've used that is also in our phone devices as well. It's what protects the hardware within, whether it's our phones, but it's also the same thing that's in our displays. And so that's something that we do from a security aspect.
Yes, I love Knox. So that's great. I didn't realize it was in the TVs as well. So the displays.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's excellent. Yeah. Excellent. So where can our listening audience find you or the product that we spoke about?
I'm on LinkedIn under my name, Sukhmani Mohta, so you can definitely find me there. For our products and more information on here, you can go to Samsung.com. And as soon as you go to Samsung.com, right up top in our navigation bar, you'll see all our products. You'll see mobile, you'll see our TVs, but you'll also see displays. So if you click on displays, you will get to see everything, whether it's education specific, you can click on education. If there's a product that you're looking at specifically, you can look there as well. We have a chat feature. So if there is any questions that you have, feel free to use the chat or reach out to me directly.
Yes, that's excellent. Now, Sukhmani, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you guys have a Samsung school where y'all trying to drop off all your new products and use cases and all of that, I'm going to volunteer my high school.
That sounds great. But Jeffrey, I love that. I'll talk to you about that.
You just, anytime y'all want to bring something new to the market and y'all need to test about 25 of them, bro, that wasn't at high school. We'll show you how we'll use them. Trust me.
I love that. We'll talk right after this.
Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me after ISTE. I appreciate that. And if there's anything I could do, just let us know here at Flipboard EDU Podcast.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me. This is great. It was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Subscribe to our Flipboard EDU Podcast magazine.
Are you looking for a podcast about education? Flipboard EDU Podcast is a great podcast that focuses on digital, remote, and future learning. We will explore how to use Flipboard in education and how it can enhance instruction. You'll hear from teachers, students, and experts who are using this amazing tool in their classrooms. It's not just an educational resource, but also a community of people who want to share ideas with one another. Hey, join our community today. Share your stories, ask questions, or even submit content for us to feature on the show. We want everyone involved in this conversation so we all can learn together as we move into the future of education. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey, and I look forward to you becoming a part of the Flipboard family. Click here now to follow our podcast. Until next time, family. Flipboard fam, thanks for sticking with us on this episode. I want to thank Sukhmani Mohta, the head of marketing for Samsung's electronic display division in the U.S., for sharing with us about the uses of Samsung digital displays in classrooms. I want to give a special shout out to Crystal Vanderboom, Aileen Laylor, and Carl Sullivan for the edits on the Flipboard Educators blog. Speaking of shout outs, all things marketing and education with Elena Leone, My EdTech Life with Fonz Mendoza, and Education Unleashed with Kendrick Thomas, and not to mention The Leader of Learning with Dr. Dan Kreitz. Some of my favorite podcasts. You can go ahead and check those out. Don't forget to subscribe to our Flipboard EDU Podcast magazine found on flipboardedu.com. Our podcast is available everywhere you listen to podcasts, so please share it with an educator or a colleague. Last but not least, I want to give a shout out to Flipboard's podcast, The Art of Curation, with Mia Quadrillo. So until next time, family, every story has a plus.